Hello, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we are talking about domain and range. And I'm going to preface this by saying domain and range tends to cause a lot of grief. It is kind of hard for people to wrap their mind around this concept. It's just a little tricky. So I really encourage you, please screw those listening ears in tight, all right, and get that brain really dialed in. Because it's not a complex concept, really and truly, but still, for some reason, it causes a lot of turmoil. So please, give it your best go. I promise you, you can get this. Okay. When we're talking about domain and range, we're talking about functions. And remember, a function can take a lot of different forms, but at its core, it's just a relationship between a group of numbers. Right? We have our inputs. That's my x values. We have my outputs, which are my y values, right? That's all a function is. It has inputs, it has outputs, and if it's a true function, every input will have only one output, all right? So what's a domain and a range? Well, domain and range are very similar, just in name and in definition. When I'm talking about a domain, that's outside of math, I'm talking about an area that I have control over. If I'm talking about range, like a shooting range, it's an area that something happens in. So in math, it's similar. They're similar words. The domain of a function is all of the inputs or all of the x values represented in that set. All right? And the range is very similar, but it's not the x values, it's all of the outputs. It's all of the y values. All right? So, for example, we have a function. F of x is equal to this set of points. It's equal to 4 points. The domain would just be the x values. This one, this one, this one, and this one. And so I would write it. The domain is, I would use curly brackets here, and I would make a list. And I would do it in ascending order, from smallest to greatest. So -6 would be the smallest, and then the next smallest would be -3, and then the next smallest is 5, and then lastly, the last input, the last x value is 9. And there you go. You just, I gotta work on my little squiggly there. You just wrote domain. It's that simple, okay? That's not the complicated part. And range, it's the same thing. It's just the y values, though. So it'd be the second one, the second one, the second one, the second one. So we would go from the smallest, which is -10. So the range would be brackets -10. Next smallest would be -7. Next smallest would be 3. And then we'd cap it off at 8. And just like that, you've written the domain and the range of this function. Done. Nice and easy. The last thing we want to do is just ask ourselves, is f of x a true function? In this case, yes, it is. Every input, every x, has only one output. -6 has only one output. 9 has only one output. -3 has only one output. 5 has only one output. So I'm going to write, yes, this is a true function because every input has only one output. And hopefully we'll see an example where that's not true. Let's try an example. Example 1, example 2. Example 1, find the domain. Okay, the domain. Remember, when it's in a table, it couldn't be easier, all right? They just give you the values straight up. Here are all your inputs. Start from the lowest, -8. Then the next lowest would be 3. And then we have another 3. We have two inputs that are the same, but with outputs that are different. Huh? Okay, we'll get to that in a moment. But first off, do I write 3 twice? No. We don't need to repeat a value. If we have a 3, we have them both, okay? So 3, what's the next one? So we have 8 done, we have 3. The next highest would be 9, and then we have 10. Okay, sweet. Now the range. The range is all the y values. Starting from the bottom, the lowest would be -4. Then the next lowest would be 4 again. And then we have another 4. Okay, 2 4s. Weird, right? But we don't need to write them both. So then the next highest would be 8, followed up by 10. Okay, and now the big money question. Is it a valid function? Question mark. Well, let me say this. If, let's say this was like 5. If this was 5, yes, this would be a valid function because every input has one unique output. But since this is a 3, since we have a repeat in the input, and those repeats have different outputs, then we have to say no. Because, let's just say no because one input has multiple outputs. It doesn't really matter about the outputs having multiple inputs. It's one input has multiple outputs. It really just boils down to this input-output relationship. This 3 is a 4, but this 3 is also a 10. That can't happen. That's a no. All right, let's try another one. What's the domain? Left is always your inputs. Right is always your outputs. How about you pause the video and give this one a try, yeah? Okay, you've paused the video. I'm certain of it. Let's speed run this. What's the lowest? -10, then -5, then -4, then 5, then 9. No repeats. So this is looking really good. All right, and now we're going to see what they output to. Range. 5 outputs. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. It only matters the lowest. There it is, -4. -4, -1, -2. Oh, that's out of order, isn't it? -2, then -1, and then 4. All right, is this a function? Let's see. 5 goes to one number, so that's good. 4 goes to one number. That's good. 9 goes to one number, so that one's fine. -5 goes to one number, so that one's fine. And -10 goes to one number. So perfect. It doesn't matter that this output is getting multiple inputs. Again, it's just about the inputs. Do the inputs only go to one number? If so, good. All right, then we can say yes. Because each input has only one output. There are no repeat inputs. All right, last one for this video, and then we're going to get into something a little more tricky. Find the domain and range of this function. Okay, well, these are just dots, but they're not just dots. They're points, and that means they have coordinates, and we have to find them. So let's do that. This one would be at, what's the x? 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be -4, 1, 2, -3. This one is, let's see, -2, +1. This one is 0, comma, -1. Over here, this would be 2, comma, 2. And down here, we would have 2, comma, -3. All right. Now let's find the domain. Remember, domain is just the x values. And you really want to look out for those repeats. If we have a repeat x value, we probably have a problem. So let's look at our x values. That is just such a terrible squiggle. Sorry, one more time. That's better. X's, what's the lowest x? That'd be here, -4. Then the next lowest would be -2. Then the next lowest would be 0. Then the next lowest would be 2. And then the next lowest would be also 2. Ooh, 2 inputs with different outputs? That's not looking good. Anyways, let's do the range now. Range. Again, range is just the y values. So It's important that it's a squiggly line, not just a bracket. There we go, better. What's the lowest y value? -3. And then we have another -3, but that's not a problem. Repeat y values are fine. It's repeat x values that we need to be worried about. Then the next lowest is -1. Then the next lowest after that is just 1. And the one after that is 2. Okay. So is this function a valid function? And unfortunately, it's not. No. Because, how would I say that? Because an input has multiple outputs. And just to prove a point, remember, if I have a function on a graph, we can use something called the vertical line test. If I can draw a straight line and it goes through 2 points, it's not a function. And if I draw a straight line right here, bam, it goes through 1 point, 2 point. It does not pass the vertical line test. Doesn't pass vertical line test, VLT. All right, that's going to do it for this video. In the next one, we're going to talk about domain and range on lines, but hopefully this part isn't too scary. Domain is just the inputs. Find the inputs, write them out, eliminate the repeats. Range is just the outputs. Find the outputs, write them out, also eliminate the repeats. And then to determine if it's a valid function, it's usually pretty straightforward. If you have multiple inputs, multiple of the same input, and they are giving you different outputs, it's not a function. So just look carefully and see, do I have multiple of the same in my domain? If so, you can be pretty confident that that is not a function. Okay, that'll do it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.